Hi Caleb, thank you for submitting this question. At midnight, two ferries were 800 miles apart, started traveling directly towards each other, but one ferry was traveling 40 miles per hour faster than the other. Sadly, at 8 a.m. they collided. What was the speed of each ferry when they collided? Okay, so first we want to do the same thing as we did in the previous problem. We set our distance equal to speed times time in this table. We're going to have ferry number 1, so we'll call it ferry 1. And then we're going to have ferry number 2, so we'll call this one ferry 2. I'm going to put a line in between. Let's pick a different color. Okay. So we'll do this color here. And this is ferry number 2. All right. So now, remember, whenever we want to put a distance, even if the problem gives us distance, we never enter in distance because that's the trick for this kind of table. We can put in speed. So one was going 40 miles faster than the other. So faster means we need to add. So let's make the red one going 40 miles per hour faster. So whatever the speed of this blue ferry was, whatever that speed was, speed needs to be S. Whatever that speed was for this ferry, this red ferry is going to have it 40 miles faster. So it's going to have a speed of plus 40. So now we have our speed. Ferry 1 has a speed of S. We don't know what it is. Ferry 2 has a speed of S plus 40. So remember, we only want to enter in speed and time, never distance. So let's try to figure out time. They never really give us time, but we know that here is the two ferries. You have ferry 1 here, and you have ferry 2 here. Okay, so then they're traveling towards each other, and then they collide right here at the same time. This is at 8 a.m. They started at 12 a.m. So if they started at 12 a.m. and they collide at 8 a.m., that means that they were traveling for 8 hours, from 12 to 8. So it'd be 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So they were traveling for 8 hours, both of them, because they started at the same time and they collided at the same time here. All right. So for time, we're going to put the same time for both. It's going to be 8 and 8. Okay. So what we want to do next is we're going to just multiply speed times time only. So for ferry number 1, we're going to put S times 8, or 8S here for distance. We never want to put anything other than whatever the multiplication of these two will be. For ferry number 2, it's going to be the speed times the time, which is 8 times S plus 40. That's what we're going to put in for distance there. Now, we know that they were 800 miles apart, so this whole distance right here is 800. We don't really know how much ferry 1 went, and we don't know how much ferry 2 went. We don't know what this distance in between them is. One was going faster, so it might have covered more distance. So we'll do what we can. We know that ferry 1 went a distance of 8S. Ferry 2 went a distance of 8S plus 40. So we can see here that if we add this distance plus this distance, we can set it equal to 800, because that's the total distance, how far they were apart until they collided in the middle here. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to say 8S plus 8 parentheses S plus 40 equals 800. Okay. Next, what we need to do is we need to distribute this 8 here we get 8s plus 8s again, and then 8 times 40 is going to be 320. Okay, so 8s plus 8s together, that's going to give us 16s plus 320 equals 800. All right, now what we want to do is solve for s, so we have to subtract 320 from both sides. From there, we're going to get 800 minus 320, that's 480. So we have 480 on this side, and we have 16s on this side. So let me just clear up some space here for us to use. Okay. So now we are going to write our problem again. So we did our 800 minus 320, we got 480. And we have our 16s on the side, which we carried over here. So 16s equals 480. We can now divide by 16, divide by 16. That should give us about 30 here. So s equals 480 divided by 16. That is 30. So the s, this s right here, equals 30. So that means ferry 1 was going 40 miles per hour. 42 is going s plus 40, which we know to be s is 40, 40 plus 40, so 40. So ferry 2 was going 80 miles per hour. So that would be ferry 2 equals 80 miles per hour. So the answer to the question, what was the speed of each ferry when they collided? When they collided 8 hours later, the speed of ferry 1 was 40 miles per hour. Speed of ferry 2 was 80 miles per hour. I hope this helps, and please ask any questions.